Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. Today's workout is going to be 30 minutes long, but what we're going to do is we're going to break it up into 4 minutes at 18 strokes per minute and 1 minute at 28 strokes a minute. So you're going to go from a low rate to a high rate, okay? Now, as far as your intensity is concerned, well, let's do this as we've been doing the recent ones with a variety of intensity levels. Now, beginner rowers, basically I just want you to sit down, do 18 strokes a minute at a nice, comfortable, maybe 5 out of 10 on the effort scale. So you're not working that hard, your breath rate goes up and you know you're working. But then when you get to the 28 strokes a minute, all I want you to do is just increase your stroke rate, okay? Don't worry too much about pace, just get up to 28, all right? Now, if you want to keep this as a relatively bottom tier workout, and I'm saying relatively because by the time you get to the 28, it's not actually going to be like a bottom tier, low heart rate workout. But if you want to keep it on the easier side, then do these 18 strokes a minute at around about 2K plus 20, but then those 28 strokes a minute, I really only want you to get up to around about 2K plus maybe 7 for them, okay? So just get that stroke rate up just naturally, but you're not really kind of like overloading, putting in loads of pressure from your legs. Now, if you want this to be a mid-tier workout, well, this time what I want you to do is to do the 18 strokes a minute at 2K plus 18. So that's 2 seconds faster than the other guys, but that's because I want you to just nudge up that intensity. And then when it gets to the 28 strokes a minute, I want you to increase your pace to round about 2K plus 4 or 5, okay? So you really are ramping up that pace. And if you want this to be a really tough workout, then what I want you to do is still do the 18 strokes a minute at 2K plus 20, so you're sitting on the back end of that. But when you get to the 28 strokes a minute, I want you to really push that and try and get up to your 2K pace. Okay, now, if you do find this a little bit on the easier side, obviously you can do those 18 strokes a minute at 2K plus 18 instead and just add a little bit faster onto them. But I get the feeling you might blow up if you're going that fast over this half hour, so it's really up to you what you have to do. All right, lots to say this morning or today, whenever you're watching this with the intensity levels. So let's just get straight into our 4-minute warm-up. Now, as always, we set up the machine first. So go to your drag factor or resistance and set that where you want it to be. There's guidelines on my channel for where to set drag factor in the concept too, but if you're just doing like resistance, just set it at a point where you get a good weight out of the stroke, but it doesn't feel as though you're pulling a horse down I don't know, I've run out of analogies here. Next up, go to your monitor and set it to eye height if you can. And finally, set those foot straps so that they either cover the bottom lace in your shoe or they will let you get to the front of the machine. Shins nice and vertical, nice and comfortably. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so 4-minute warm up. I'm going to do this at 18 strokes a minute and I'll guide you through it in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So power here is just a nice light connection push of your legs. So you're not going for any real power, you're just putting in enough of a shove from your legs that you're getting the flywheel moving and you know you're working a little bit. And the point being that you're trying to work on the timing of pushing your legs and the handle connecting with the flywheel at the same time. So you're trying to go push, connect right at the same time, so that power comes from your legs, through your body, and into the machine. What you don't want to do is pull on the handle early or push with the feet and miss the connection to the handle, which will just send your backside scooting backwards. Now, once you've got that timing right, the next minute, just work on increasing the pace a little bit. If you have a 2K training pace, then try to get closer to 2K plus 20. If you don't know what I mean, then a 2K training pace is where you row a 2,000 meter time trial as fast as you can, divide the result by 4, and that gives you your average pace or average time to cover 500 meters. So if that works out as 2 minutes, 5 seconds, and I say row at 2K plus 20, then you'd be rowing at 2 minutes, 25 pace. Okay, one more stroke. And let's put one foot on the floor, carry on rowing. Now I'll talk more about technique through the 4-minute sections today, but really right now, just concentrate on a good push with the leg that's still connected to the machine, and keep those arms straight as you do so. Swap feet. So nice and straight arms as you start the leg drive, and then only towards the back of the stroke do you finally bend your elbows and pull in your arms. Okay, 3 more strokes. 2, 1 more. Let's put both feet in, legs straight, and just roll with your back and arms. So arms forwards, lean forwards, and then swing over your hips and pull in your arms. The important part here is you start with the swing of your back over your hips and then pull in your arms. Don't grab the handle first. Swing with your hips. Swing, pull, push, swing. Right? Roll to the front of the machine, arms straight, push out from the front. Got my timing there wrong. Or wrong there. Arms nice and straight, forward lean, press out from the front of the machine. Try and hold that forward lean and arms straight so you can just return back in again. Because what you're working on here is the timing, but also your body position. 1 more. There you go. So I'll talk more about all that kind of stuff during today's row. I'm sure I'll get distracted and talk about something else as well, but in the meantime, just keep on moving up and down the rail, have a quick drink, and I'll quickly just go over one more time what it is we're doing today. Okay then, so today's row is going to be 30 minutes long, and we're going to break it into 4-minute, then 1-minute chunks. Those 4 minutes are going to be at 18 strokes a minute, and the 1 minute is going to be at 28 strokes a minute. Now, if you're a beginner rower and you don't really have a pace guide yet, then really just do those 18 strokes a minute at around about 5 out of 10 effort, and then just see what pace happens as you get up to 28 strokes a minute. Don't worry too much about your effort, but you will be going faster, but just don't worry. Just try and hold the pace once you get up to 28 strokes a minute. Now, if you wanted to go on the easier side of today's workout, then do those 18 strokes a minute at 2k plus 20 pace, and then go to round about 2k plus 7 or 8 for the 28 strokes per minute. Then if you want to go for a mid-intensity, just a good old hard workout, then do the 18 strokes a minute at 2k plus 18, and then do the 28 strokes a minute at round about 2k plus 4 or 5. So that's going to be a really tough workout, but it's not going to completely exhaust you. If you want to go for the complete exhaustion, then do those 18 strokes a minute at round about 2k plus 20, but when it comes to the 28s, take them all the way up to your 2k pace, okay? Now, I have set my workout today using the ErgZone app, and I've set it as 4-minute and 1-minute intervals 6 times over. So there is a small chance that depending on how you set your monitor, we're gonna go slightly out of sync as this one ticks over from interval to interval, but hopefully just keep up. When I say change stroke rate, just change stroke rate, okay? And it'll all work out fine together. It's just a little bit of a hiccup with the Concept 2's monitor that it doesn't really just tick over in real time when you set it to intervals. Bit of a frustration, but hey. Anyway, so we're going to start off at 18 strokes a minute at whatever pace you pick in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Now, I did this yesterday as the mid-tier option. So, because I did quite an intense workout yesterday, today I am sitting on the bottom end of this pace guide, which also, to be fair, makes it easier for me to talk to you. So I just want to make sure that you're not avoiding the more intense intensity settings of these workouts. The downside to giving you these options is that it's then easier just to say, oh well then, I'll take the easier side of things, which will develop your fitness, But if you're looking to increase your kind of like your 2K fast pace and things, you need to mix that up a bit. And so the only reason I told you that I did it yesterday was just to explain why, once again, I'm sitting on the bottom end of the pace guide. Because otherwise, I'm completely going against my the advice I just gave you, because most of these choose your own adventure rows, I do sit on the bottom end of the pace guide. But a row like this is fantastic to come back to 3 times in a row. You can do it mid-intensity the first time, then come back and do it at the bottom intensity the next time, and then do the top intensity after that. Same workout, but 3 completely different intensities and training results. The only downside is listening to me 3 times in a row. So you don't have to do it as a row along. You could just do it on your own. But where's the fun in that? Okay, so we're coming up for 3 minutes into this. Now quickly, just say one thing about technique before we hit the first 28s. And that is to make sure that the power you're generating is coming from that leg drive. That you have a forward lean into the front of the machine, nice straight arms, and you push with the legs. And then get the handle away from you and rock back over your hips into that forward lean again. Getting that sequencing right is what will help you as we're about to get the stroke rate a lot faster. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Here we go with our first 28s. So it's just under 1 stroke every 2 seconds. It might take 15 seconds or so for you to feel comfortable. But like I say, part of this higher stroke rate rowing is about rhythm, making sure to get that handle away from you to start your recovery. Okay, almost there. Three, 2, 1. Back down to 18s. Yeah, I had an odd 1 second hiccup there with the monitor, which kind of meant I had to slow my rate in order to pick back into the rhythm again. But just follow along with me for stroke rate, because although there may be the odd hiccup at the transition points, I will fall back into the correct stroke rate within a few strokes. So that's how today's row is going to go. 4 minutes, then a fast 1 minute, and doing it 6 times. Certainly gets the heart rate up. I increased from 63% of max at the end of the 4 minutes to then 72% after the 1 minute increase. And that's me sitting on the back end of the pace guide. So if you were on the mid or the top, then the intensity will kind of climb up steeper than it will for me. But because of the way the session is laid out, it'll be manageable, but just a little bit tough. The important thing for today being the 28s, in that quite a lot of the recent rows I've put up here have been like 20, 24, kind of on the lower end of the pace guide. And then when I did one the other day that was 20 minutes and then 7 minutes at as fast as you could, suddenly realized I was so out of practice doing higher rate stuff because it had all been low rate for so long. And it's important to inject some higher rate stuff from time to time, so you don't just get good at rowing low rate or rowing low rate hard. Okay, 3 strokes to go. 1 more. Here we go, back up to 28s. So your pace and stroke rate are linked. In order to get your stroke rate up, you need a faster drive as well as a faster recovery. But in order to get a faster drive, you have to put in a bit more power from your legs. So combine that extra power with the fact that you're rowing 10 strokes a minute more than you were before, you should see your pace go up. And we're done. Back to 18s. Whew. Good job. So my 4 minute section only increased by 1% for my heart rate, but the 1 minute increased from 72 to 77%. So definitely an element of increased intensity going on. And it should be the same for you. Even on the beginner or easier pace guide on this row, it shouldn't feel like a walk in the park. If you were to stay at this pace and stroke rate the whole way through, it would feel easy. But these 1 minute bursts add a little sprinkle of spice to keep you working a little bit harder, and then it'll take a good 2 minutes into this interval before your body starts to calm down a bit. Then before you know it, you're back into the 28 again. And then next time round, it might take 2 minutes 15 for your body to settle down. So like I say, there isn't really a proper bottom tier, low rate, purely fitness engine building option today's row, because of these 28 strokes a minute spurts that get your heart rate up. But all of the pace guides have their value today. And like I say, one of the biggest ones of them is actually rowing at higher rate, but not for too long that you don't get too exhausted. Okay, coming up to the next one. So remember, getting the rate up is about a faster drive, but also a good fluid recovery back to the front of the machine. So don't stop at the back of the stroke. All right, 3, 2, 1. Here we go, 28s. So get that handle back out at the same pace that you brought it in at. In, out. A nice rhythm. You don't want to be jerking, because you want that handle to lead into your forward lean again. And then once the handle is past your knees, you bend your knees to recover to the front of the machine. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're back to 18s. Try to get back to your 2K plus 18 or 2K plus 20 pace as quickly as possible. There is an important aspect to be able to lock straight back into your pace and rate after going fast. The control over your body while rowing shouldn't be underestimated. So you know how to change your paces, either for different training or if you're rowing something like a 10K, where it can often be a 5-second difference in your pace between your first 500 meters and your last 500 meters. You need to be able to control your power output as you go through a row like that. Especially as being the longer your rows are, the more steady your stroke rate might be. It's like a 2K. I'll start off around about 32, but I'll end up about 36, 38 as I try and squeeze more power out. Whereas a 10K, I'll maybe start about 26, 28 strokes a minute and maybe only increase to like 30, maybe 32 max by the end. So all this is about teaching you how to control your body while also giving you a killer workout. Right, coming up to the fourth burst in just over 30 seconds. The other thing about a workout like this is time flies by. The fact we're about to hit the 20-minute mark only feels like I've been rowing for 10 minutes. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to 28s. Get that rate up. Really think about that connection between your legs and your arms in order to get that power into the handle and into the machine. That'll help you with your faster stroke rate. And then, like I say, a good smooth recovery that's kicked off with a rhythmic handle away. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back to 18s. Just 2 more sets to go, and then we're all done. I crept up to 83% of max on that last one. So the drift is happening. But again, as long as you're aware of your energy system and you make sure when it comes to your next session to pay attention to your energy levels. You should make sure you're not in danger of under recovery. So even though I'm saying that I'm sitting on the bottom end of the pace guide today, I know I'm working harder than a typical bottom tier row. So when it comes to picking my next session, if I'm feeling any after effects from today's row, I will make sure and go for a proper bottom tier recovery row. However, if I'm feeling good, I'll go for a top tier row. This is too close to a mid to follow it up with another mid. Those mid-tier rows are kind of the danger ones, where they're almost more about mental fortitude than they are about physical training. Being able to get through a hard row, really important mentally. Knowing that you can complete, but needing to choose to keep going so that you will complete, as opposed to a top tier row, which sometimes you're hanging on for dear life to be able to complete. And often, from a heart rate point of view, those mid-intensity rows kind of put your heart rate into like the black hole zone, where you're not getting the benefits of the long, slow stuff, but you're also not getting the benefits of an anaerobic workout. Still are benefits, but you just don't want to do too many of them together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, back up to 28. Now keep that technique rock solid, nice straight arms at the front as you push the machine away with your legs. Keep that forward lean at the same time, and only when your legs are about halfway done do you finally swing back over your hips, and then finally pull your arms into a finish. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back to 18s. Doing well. Last one. Now, anyone who took the bravado approach and is pushing these 18s a little faster than I suggested, keep it going. You chose that path. You've only got 3 minutes and change of this interval to go, and then that last 1 minute will fly by. Now, as we get into the closing stages of today's row, if fatigue has started to set in, there's a chance that the first thing to go will be your posture and your backswing. So make sure as you come into the front that you are up on your sit bones, forward lean, tilting over the hips, not caving in from the back, which is often what happens if you get tired, is that in the search for more length, rather than using a powerful posture, you relax too much and fold in to the front, collapsing your posture. And as being, this is a training row, not a race. You're trying to train yourself to keep that powerful posture. So up on your sit bones, hips tilted forwards, shoulders in front of hips, arms straight. And make sure as you push with the legs that you hold that forward lean and straight arms, because again, you don't want to swing too early because you're tired. Keep your position. We're almost there. You can keep driving through it. Really concentrate on a powerful posture, braced core, front and back. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go, last one. If you want to push this and sprint home, keep the same stroke rate, but see how much power you can get out of your legs. I'm going to wait until 20 seconds to go, and then I'm going to give it some welly. All right, here we go. Power. Keep that stroke rate at 28. 2 more. 1 more. 139 finish for me, which I'll take. Well, that was that's exactly how it was intended to be for me. That it was a little bit harder work because of those 28s. Didn't feel at any point like I couldn't, or even really that I'd have to push in order to complete. And I had room in my legs at the end to have a wee push. So, like I say, it might not sit as a bottom tier row if you're doing it on the bottom end of the pace guide, but it still has its value. Come on. So I'm just loading up 2-minute cool down. Really is handy having the iPod up there. Here we go then, 2-minute cool down in 3, 2, 1, go. Go back down to 18s again. And power, if you have a 2K pace, run about 2K plus 30. So you're still putting in a good amount of power from your legs to be able to connect, but nowhere near enough power to create a burn. So this will let your muscles cool down, it'll let your heart rate ease down, it'll let your brain disengage, and it'll just help you glide into a, I was about to say happy finish. It's not quite the phrase to use, is it? So today's row, it must be said, I didn't get distracted at all into any little sideline stories. I was pretty much on point about technique or training efficiency. Every now and then I have to do one that's like that. Can't just drift off and talk about food or drumming or DJing or whatever. Plus, because it was these 4 minutes and 1 minute, I kind of had to keep focus through those intervals and try and help you keep your focus too. So if I suddenly got distracted and started talking about, I don't know, my favourite films, I'm done. You keep on cooling down or get off and have a stretch. But yeah, if I suddenly just started talking about my favourite films and stuff, you'd be like, what, where are we? So this is an important one that I kind of kept on point. My normal service of chatty nonsense should hopefully resume in the next one. Hopefully I'll be outside next time as well. Just summer rain today. Just went and didn't fancy rowing in that. Don't want this thing to rust. So anyway, there we go. There was today's row. Really good one to come to if you think, well, I don't want a bottom tier. I don't really want a mid tier though. I want something in between. This is the perfect one. And those 28 strokes a minute are really important in terms of your fast twitchy, getting the feeling of being up at a higher rate. It's kind of important from time to time that you do the higher rate stuff if your intentions are to do a row that includes higher rate stuff like a 2K or a 1K or something. So there we go. So all that's really left is a hashtag for today's row, which I keep on thinking higher ground. That's not right, is it? Because that's a Stevie Wonder song or Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Trying to think of something that's pithy. I can say rate mix up, but that's not very pithy, is it? Rate rules. Let's just do that. Hashtag rate rules, because rates rule, but rate rules, because there was a rule to the, whatever. Running out of steam on those ones. Anyway, right, I'm actually really hungry because I'm still doing my 16-8 fasting thing, and I always train before I have my lunch. So I am off to have some miso soup, some noodles, some wakame, and some chicken, which isn't the most exciting meal in the world, but it really sets me up for the rest of the day and gets me through to dinner. I don't actually know what I'm having for dinner tonight, so I can't even regale you with chatter of that. I'm hoping it's tasty though. Maybe if I get this edited around about dinner time and I know what it is by then, I can put in the description. By the way, if you're interested in what I'm having for dinner, it was this. But yeah, so anyway, thank you very much for coming along to another of my rows. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a little bit more techie and less personality based, because obviously I've got the biggest personality in the world. But yeah, like I say, sometimes it's important to actually chat about what we're doing and not about what we're not doing. So this is one of those sessions. So thank you so much for being part of this. Do leave some kind of a comment on this. If you're listening to it on the podcast, and please leave a review. Nobody reviews this. I don't even know if anyone ever rates it or anything. It's like, there's no feedback apart from seeing when someone leaves a comment or a review and then I go, oh, look, someone likes it. I'm not wasting my time. I'm at this stage, I know I said I was about to finish, but Right now, I've almost got to the end of uploading all of the 2K plan to the podcast, at which point I'll then start backtracking through the standalone rows. So maybe they'll get a bit more traction anyway, because if you're on the podcast and you're like, I don't want to do a plan, but you don't have to do the plan, you just do the session. It's so hard to get that across. Anyway, I'm off. You all stay well, be safe. No, be well, stay safe. What do I say? Stay safe, be well. There we go. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.